So San Juan recently celebrated its 500th anniversary, and it was founded in the year 1521, which makes the city 503 years old, which is pretty impressive considering anything in America is 300 or less for the most part. But this city's been around a very long time, and in fact, Old San Juan is even a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So there is a lot of history to see here in San Juan. So let's check it out. So behind me is what used to be the main gate of San Juan. Basically, all Spanish dignitaries and important individuals would usually dock right over here and would enter in this main gate right here. But also importantly, this is the National Historical Site of Paso del Morro, and there's still several miles of the wall left. I believe at one time there were 3 miles of walls going all around Old San Juan, and obviously a lot of it's still here because, I mean, this is just kind of part of the protection from the sea and flooding and hurricanes and whatnot, so there's really no reason to take this down, and also it makes for a very beautiful walk if you have the time. We are going to visit the house of Ponce de Leon, which is known as Museo Casablanca today. Although Ponce de Leon never actually was able to occupy this house, this was still the house built for him, and it was one of the oldest buildings that's still in the city of San Juan, dating back to just the 16th century. So let's check it out. Okay, so Ponce de Leon's house was closed today. I was able to tour the grounds a little bit, and it was very pretty. Fortunately, the grounds were at least open, but it looks like I can move on. Now, I was warned about the heat here, and I guess I just didn't take into account the humidity, because usually I'm a warm weather person, but man, I am sweating buckets here, and the breeze off of this fountain feels really good. But yeah, it is very hot. I believe it's like 90 degrees today, but still, I mean, with the humidity, oh man, I just feel like I'm melting. So I just visited Parque de las Palomas, and it's very beautiful and has a great overlook of the city, but if you have ornithophobia, this may be an avoid for you. So I am on the northeastern part of Old San Juan and at Fort Cristobal. This is one of the 2 major forts in Old San Juan that overlooks the harbor. So fortifications like Fort San Cristobal were very necessary, as the English and the Dutch had both sacked the city of San Juan in its early years, in its first century. So clearly some major defenses were needed. And after that, an English attack still happened in the late 1700s, but that was repulsed because eventually defenses like these were put up, and it was pretty much impossible to take San Juan through just kind of a half-hearted attack as it had been in the centuries prior. So in 2009, the U.S. government released quarters, like the state quarters, but for all the U.S. territories as well, including American Samoa, Guam. But Puerto Rico's quarter actually had one of these on it, which is a sentry box. And there are about 28, I think, or 29 sentry boxes in Old San Juan today. This is on their territory quarter. And I just think it's kind of cool. And I mean, this is kind of what the symbol of Old San Juan really is just these. I mean, obviously they wouldn't do much during a real bombardment, but still for a sentry looking out over the bay and trying to watch the harbor, this is just kind of where your daily life would have been. Sort of a dichotomous fact about Puerto Rico is that the miles per hour signs are still in miles. But if you see any road signs telling you distances, they're in kilometers. Obviously, it may not seem like a big deal if you're just hearing about it, but if you're trying to figure out where to go, I can see why that would be really confusing. But just keep in mind, speed signs are in miles per hour and road signs are in kilometers. And another important fact about Old San Juan is that while most of Old San Juan is very safe, there is the El Morro neighborhood, which is right over my shoulder. That's considered to be kind of a dangerous area of the island. You might want to stay away from it. I was told not to book a hotel there. I mean, that's where most of the crime is in Old San Juan, so just make sure you stay away from that area. So this roadside wall you see here was originally built in 1760, before even the establishment of the United States. And it actually finally collapsed in about the year 2004, and they think part of it was due to all the vibrations from vehicle traffic, because obviously engineers who are using horses and buggies probably didn't think of automobiles. So I'm currently in the Free San Juan Museum. All it really requires is just to sign in. You got to give your email, but it's just kind of nice just to see something local and, you know, just that's just free from the city. Somebody made these really nice paintings. I mean, these really look photorealistic, but at least according to this, these were painted. So I have to give credit to Ole Sobre Linezo, because dang, that looks real. So I just visited the Museum of San Juan. Although there were some nice silver pieces and some prints that were made in San Juan back in the day, a lot of the museum wasn't in English, and in fact, one of the wings of the museum was just on like somebody's paintings of fruit. It was like a whole gallery of it, and I don't know, it just seemed a little odd for a city museum to have half of it devoted to just you know, art not really related to the actual city's history. So personally, I would probably skip this if you ever come here, but that was the San Juan Museum. So this is the Americas Museum in Old San Juan, and I have to say, I think it's kind of what I imagined the San Juan Museum would be. A lot of it's kind of local art, but I mean, it's actually, you know, localized art. Like this shows like the Puerto Rican culture, and I think it's very, very interesting. There also is a bit of history and just kind of histories of different groups of people who've lived in San Juan over the years and like different eras. So I am pretty impressed with this museum. Admission is just $6, so it would definitely be worth your time if you just plan to spend maybe just a half hour here. It's still very nice. Puerto Rico is obviously known for its beautiful Catholic churches. This particular cathedral is the Cathedral of San Juan Bautista, but there is an older one right around the corner. But something important to note about the San Juan Bautista Cathedral is that Ponce de Leon is actually buried here. I wanted to visit his house earlier today, but it was unfortunately closed. Now, based on the upkeep of this church, you may not expect this, but this is the San Juan Church, and is actually the second oldest church in the Western Hemisphere. So it's pretty amazing they kept it up this well, but I'd say it's still a very impressive church. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'll be able to go inside, but just an important little piece of information if you're passing through San Juan. So something Old San Juan is well known for is all the feral cats running around the island. I know it's kind of an issue. Some people want them neutered, some people just want them straight up gone, but they are definitely here to stay, and they are all over the island if you look for them. Personally, I'm not a big fan of cats, so I mean, I think they're gross and they spread diseases, so I don't really know how I feel there. Now over here is Fort El Morro. I went to San Cristobal earlier today, and some people sometimes try to figure out which one they should go to, but if you actually buy a ticket at one, you still have a ticket that's good for the other one the same day, so you might as well check out both if you come here. But this is the other major fort. Sir Francis Drake actually attacked this fort, as well as many other Dutch and English fleets throughout the years, but I do not believe this fort was ever taken. But just to drive home how massive Fort El Morro is that it has 6 levels. I am currently on level 4, and this fort still is just way over sea level. Like, I think they said that the top of Fort El Morro with the lighthouse is over 160 feet over sea level, which is incredible considering that this is literally built right on the seashore. So this room is the oldest part of Fort El Morro. They believe this section was built in the year 1539, and when you think about it, Spain wasn't even unified entirely until 1492, the same year as Columbus's expedition. So that just puts into perspective just how old this is. Like, this is almost 500 years old. Like, there's almost nothing else in the New World that's even close to this age. But another reason why I'm in this room is because Fort El Morro did not escape unscathed from the Spanish-American War. If you see that giant hole in the wall up there, that is still damage from a American shell during the Spanish-American War. The United States did bombard this fortress during the war in 1898, although they did not take it. It was eventually surrendered, but this still is like a physical scar of the US invasion. Fort El Morro also has this pretty cool lighthouse, but unfortunately I'm not allowed inside it. Otherwise, I would love to take a tour. But to decide the debate between Fort El Morro and Fort San Cristobal, which one's better, I think that Fort El Morro is better hands down. There was just more stuff here, there was more of the fort to really explore, and honestly I felt like Fort San Cristobal was just a little bit run down. So I would definitely say El Morro is the better of the two options. You can just still see a lot of the historical defenses, and it's just still a great piece of living history. So if you have a choice, if you ever come to San Juan, you have a choice between the two, come to El Morro, and although if you do come to El Morro, San Cristobal will be free anyway, but I would highly, highly recommend checking this out. This is probably my favorite spot in Old San Juan. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.